guys, today I'm going to be ranking all the new products I tried in February. I have a decent amount of things here. I wish I would have tried more new things, but we've got a good amount of things to review here. And for some of these products, I've kind of lumped them together in a category. So I have 7 different groupings or individual products that I'm going to be ranking. So we're going to go from the bottom to the top. Starting with number 7 would be the 3 products from the Joah Beauty Crystal Glow collection. I was sent this by Influenster. I did film a first impression and post it on my Instagram. I will have it linked down below in case you want to check it out. And I think that all these products did work nicely and they looked pretty in that first impression, but I didn't put on any other makeup. I just wore these by themselves, which is not really how I would wear my makeup. Of course, I would do concealer, powder, cheek products. And when I tried this multiple times in like my normal routine, I didn't like them, any of them. So the first one is the Tinted Luminizer. I have the shade Ivory, and I was so confused about whether this actually was like a foundation product or not. And it does have a very slight tint. It's right here if you can see. But it really shears out to not look like it's giving much coverage at all. When I applied a couple layers, I felt like I could see a teensy bit of coverage, but I think it's because I was looking for it. I would be using this more as like a stick primer, and while it does feel a little tacky, maybe it can make your foundation stick better, it just doesn't give much glow. I'm very confused on what this is. It doesn't give enough coverage to be a foundation type product. It doesn't give enough glow to really be a primer or a stick highlight. So I would say I would probably use this as a stick primer, but I don't even like the idea of that. I'm much more of a liquid primer person, so I just don't get this product. I did forget to mention in my first impression that there is a little brush on the bottom, which is nice that they included that, but yeah, no, I'm very confused on what this is supposed to be. Next, we have the Jelly Bomb highlight in the shade number 2. I'm not sure how many shades there are. This one just says number 2 Crystal Glow. And the texture of this is a little bit bouncy, but only if you really like press into it. It definitely does feel a little bit more of like a powder, kind of like a gelée, but it just is like really thin and flaky. But when you really get your brush in there to put it on the skin, it looks very glittery. It sits right on top of the skin, looks like some glitter, and it's not very pretty at all. I thought it looked nice when, again, I just had those 3 products on and it was very pretty, but with the rest of my makeup or even trying to put this over top of a foundation, I'd say no. Like it does show up, but no base pigment, just a bunch of glitter, and I just do not find it to be very flattering, and the formula itself isn't the easiest to work with. I tried going in with my brush and my finger, and I didn't really like either. The last product is the Crystal Glow Refreshing Luminizer Skin Mist, and it does have a really nice fine mist. The only issue is that it is so fine that I felt like I got it more on my shirt than I did on my face. So I do have to bring it closer to my face. It also has a very perfumey scent, which I don't like. I don't have sensitive skin, but I still just don't like that. It does give a little bit of a glow to the skin. It's not greasy. This is the best product of the 3, but I just didn't love it and I'm not going to reach for it. So I'm actually going to be decluttering all 3 of these products from my collection. You guys know I'm an oily skin girl to begin with, but it isn't even that these made me really greasy. They just didn't do anything. So if you have tried this line, please let me know your thoughts, or if you have suggestions of ways that I can use those products, I'd be up for giving them another chance, but I do think I'm gonna pass them on. Next, I have all of the K-Beauty products that I tested out from Stylevana. I did do a try on haul, get ready with me style for Valentine's Day. I will link it up in the cards. That video was definitely different for me in the way that I filmed it. It took me forever, but I was pretty happy with the final result. But all of these products are landing at the bottom of my ranking, unfortunately, and there are some different reasons for that. So I did get 3 makeup products, 4 skincare products. All 4 of the skincare products smell like rose, which makes sense because this was a Valentine's Day theme, but I do not like the scent of rose. Some of these are stronger than others, but the rose scent is just not for me. And I'm actually gonna be decluttering all 4 of these products. I have so much skincare right now, and it's not even because I'm buying skincare. I'm very fortunate where I get packages from Derma-E and Dr. Zenobia every month. I also get packages from Pixi, so I just have so much other skincare. None of this stuff blew me away, so I'm gonna pass it on. So we have the Isntree Real Rose Calming Mask. I'm gonna have everything linked down below and listed in case I'm mispronouncing anything. So this reminds me of the Fresh Rose Face Mask, like it's that jelly consistency. So if you were looking for an alternative or a dupe for the Fresh one, I do think this is a good alternative, but it doesn't do anything for my skin. I don't really get the point of the Fresh one either. I also didn't like that one, so that's why I'm getting rid of that. And then we have the iUNIK Rose Essential Toner. I have a whole bunch of toners. I've got some jumbo sizes of Pixi Glow Tonic. Other things that I would rather use, and like I said, I just don't like the scent of rose, even though this isn't that strong. I just have too many toners to get through. Then I have these Hamish Hydrogel eye patches, Bulgarian rose water. I don't use eye patches like ever, and I do have some full-size containers from Pixi and Derma-E that I would rather use up. And then I have a facial mist, so you could say that this is a skincare or a makeup product. This is the Sioris Falling Into the Rose Mist. I, again, didn't like the smell. Didn't do much for me. I like setting sprays. I like MAC Fix Plus as a facial mist, but that's it. I don't really reach for any other facial mist. I want a setting spray to lock my makeup in all day, so this just isn't gonna do enough for me. I'm definitely still interested in trying some Korean skincare. I don't need to buy any anytime soon, but I definitely want to do some more research because I know that there's so many amazing brands and products out there. And it's not that any of these things were bad, they just didn't blow me away. And again, they're all rose scented, which I don't like. So please leave me your favorite brands and specific products from Korean skincare. And then I have 3 makeup products that I was sent. And the first is this Hamish Roses eyeshadow palette. And I was decently impressed with the pigmentation, and the mattes blended nicely. The shimmers were nice applied with a finger, but if you apply these with a brush, they're more of like a glitter topper. And from what I've heard about K-beauty makeup is that the preference is to be more sheer instead of more opaque, and I definitely think that this palette would fit that. But that's not my preference. As you can tell today, I've got a pretty punchy eye look. I like more intense opaque shadows. So while this does not perform poorly, it just does not fit my tastes. So then I have a McQueen New York blush in the shade number 1 Apricot Peach. And I've applied 3 to 4 layers on my hand right here, if you guys can see that color. This is a matte finish blush. I wish that I would have been able to try out a different shade. I'm very fair and this does show up on me. I do need to build it up, but it is pretty easy to build up. It is pretty powdery, so there is a lot of pigment there. It's just such a light shade. I know I'm not going to be reaching for this. And it also looks very dry on my hand. I've got a couple of dry patches apparently, and it is rather accentuated right now. So this just didn't do anything for me. I'm not obsessed with the formula, but it wasn't bad. It was mostly the color. So unfortunately, I'm not able to test it as much as I would like because of that. So the one product that I tried that I will be keeping that I ended up really liking is this 3CE Soft Lip Lacquer in the shade #Imposing. It's a really pretty, more red tone color. I don't really wear reds, but I really enjoyed the way that this looked on me in that video. I did also take a selfie, which I like never do, and so I'm happy now that I actually have a selfie somewhere on my Instagram. But this was a very pretty bright color. It's a really comfortable formula. It's somewhere between like a lip stain and a liquid lipstick, but it's pretty comfortable. It's decently long wearing. It's a nice shade. I'm not gonna go out and buy any more of these, but I am happy to have this in my collection because I don't have very many reds in general. The other reds I have are a little bit deeper, and this is more of a bright red, very pretty. So this will be fun to play with once in a while. But everything else I can honestly do without, just because I don't like the rose scent, and the makeup is just a little light for my preference. Product number 5 would be the NYX Slide On Glide On eyeliner in the shade Jewel, and I don't have it here to share with you because I did return that product, and there are a few reasons for that. So the number one reason is because every time, or just about every time I wore it, which was around 5 times, I would put it on my waterline, my lower lash line, and my eyes would itch so badly, and it would make my eyes water and run, which already happens, but then the liner would be totally gone, and I would be like scratching my lower lash line. And I feel very confident it was this liner because it happened almost every time I used it, which is again very weird to me because I don't have sensitive skin or necessarily even sensitive eyes. My eyes do water all the time, very often, but they don't itch. So that was very weird. So that was the main reason I returned. I didn't want to keep an eyeliner that made my eyes itch. But also I was not obsessed with the formula. I know people have raved about these liners for years, and it could be just this one particular color. It was like a purpley mauve. I know sometimes people have a hard time formulating purples and they can be a bit more on the sheer side, but I feel like the mauve should have been fine. But I felt like I did have to kind of go back and forth several times to get it fully opaque. And I did want to try a couple other shades from this line, and I'm not going to because of the itching and because I just was not that impressed with, I don't want to even say the staying power because I don't know. I scratched my eyes off, so I don't know how the staying power is. It did glide on very nicely, but it just wasn't as opaque as I wanted it to be. And I think most of the colors in this range are a shimmer finish. I'm sure there are some mattes. I'm sure there's like a matte black and brown, maybe a white or a nude. But yeah, I just was not in love with that formula wise, and the itching thing was very weird. Product number 4 would be this little deluxe sample of the Anastasia Dipbrow Gel. I have the shade Taupe. I am using this in my brows today. I was so nervous that this was going to be very gloopy and thick looking in my brows, and it is not right now. I am nervous about when it gets time to taking out the stopper because I think it will get crazier then, and I will basically fill in my brows with pencil. And then I just apply this like a normal brow gel because it does have like a regular mascara type applicator. I do make sure to scrape off the product at the end though, so I don't get any globs in my brows or in the front. I don't love this shade. Now Taupe is the correct color for me because the blonde colors tend to pull a little green from Anastasia, but the taupes are just really cool tone, very gray, and that's why I prefer Benefit brow products in general because I think they have a better shade selection, better undertones than Anastasia does. And I know she's the queen of brows, but this is just not the most perfect color for me. Does hold my brows in place nicely, does give a nice amount of color, but this is not something I repurchase. It doesn't really do anything that crazy for me. I would rather use just like a Benefit Gimme Brow Gel. I don't need something that has this much pigment to it because I'm still using pencils and stuff underneath. So interesting product, and it's good, but not something that I would reach for a whole ton. Product number 3 is a palette. This is the Huda Beauty Naughty Nude. I did use this several times, and I do think it's very pretty looking with all of these marbled shades in here. I really like Huda in general. Her mini Obsessions palettes, the formulas in those palettes are incredibly inconsistent, but I feel like all of her full-size palettes perform very well, very consistently. I love Desert Dusk, I love New Nude, and I just don't love this one. It performs well, but when I went to apply the colors on my eye, I just wasn't that impressed. I think the marbling looks a lot prettier than it actually performs on the eye. For this more brown one over here, it actually went on the eye like a satin, not a shimmer. This one is just very glittery, and I like these two shades right here. Those two shimmers are very pretty. This shimmer is very pretty. I do like the mattes in here, but the mattes kind of are actually more warm tone than mauve-y because of this burgundy packaging. I just looked at this palette like yes, there were some warm neutrals, but that was more of like a mauve-y burgundy, and it's really not. You do have some of those shades, but it is equally as full with warm neutrals. And I really just prefer the New Nude palette over this one color-wise, but the formula is very good. I'm not disappointed that I have this in my collection. I have not used all the shades yet. I do think I will pull for this, but it definitely was not necessary for me based on all of the other eyeshadows I have in my collection. Ranking at number 2 is another palette. This is the Pat McGrath Celestial Divinity palette, and this palette does come with different packaging than her others. It's nice and thin, which I appreciate, but it's very long, which makes it annoying to store. And it also has these little doodads so that your mirror stays up, but it doesn't stay up. Like when I actually have this sitting on my vanity to apply my makeup, it always falls down, which is so irritating. I want to cut these, but I'm not going to yet. I want to cut them so this can just lay flat because it ain't working for me. It always just shuts on me, which is so irritating. So I had heard some negative things about this palette, which made me nervous, but I think it's because in this palette, you have a ton of repeat shades from the Star Wars collection, which were very hard to get palettes. So I think that the people that like work their butts off to get those palettes were really irritated when this came out, and I'm sure it was much cheaper than buying all those other palettes and much easier to get your hands on. So I just watched a video from Mel Thompson, and she mentioned this as a regret because she has these Star Wars palettes, and I think she said that these 2 rows and these 2 rows are Star Wars palettes. It's just the middle 2 that are new shades to this palette, but they do look similar to some of her other shades. So if you already have those palettes and you didn't realize they were Star Wars repeat shades, that would be incredibly irritating and a very expensive purchase. So I totally get why people are upset by it. I don't have those palettes, so I was excited about this one. So I am wearing this palette today. I have this shade on my lid. This is my transition crease color, and this is my outer corner color. So the shades perform really well. I love this shade on my lid. I do think you can really see how duochromatic it is. It's so beautiful. It is a purple to blue flashing eyeshadow. It looks so pretty. It was very pigmented, applied very well. The other shades I used in here would be this color, and I used this shade, and I swear I used another. I just cannot remember, but I know that I used both of those, and they were very pretty. And there are a ton of warm tone shimmers in here, which you guys know I love warm tones, so I'm happy to play with those. The only negative though is that there's only 3 mattes in this palette, and this brown is more of like a reddy brown, so I could pair that with some of these warm neutrals, but I would most likely pair that with some of the more mauve shades. I just wish there was 1 or 2 more mattes and they were more warm tone, because I was trying to just use the shadows in this palette when creating these 3 looks. All of them are the more cool tone purpley looks because of the mattes that they have. So I wish they would have included some more warm mattes, But I think all of these shades perform very well. They're super beautiful. I am excited to make more looks with this palette, and I in general don't mind pulling for multiple palettes or combining a palette with some singles to create a full look. I don't mind doing that at all. Like I said, because I only had a couple of days to test out this palette, I really wanted to use as many of these shadows as possible. So again, I think the colors in here are very beautiful. I think I might not use these two here, but everything else I do believe I will use. Very happy with the performance. The mattes were pigmented, blended nicely. They're buildable. The shimmers, I would say the same. They're very pigmented. The ones that do have those beautiful flashes, I was able to see them on the eye. Very impressed with the quality. And my number one product of the month would be the Tower 28 Shine On Milky Lip Jelly in the shade Coconut. So they have their more like, I don't want to say sheer, but sheer jelly range. And then they have 4 shades in the Milky line, which have a little bit more pigment to them. This is the most pink color. Like I said, it is in Coconut, and there is what that looks like. So this is a really pretty pinky shade. It's a little bit more of like a peachy warm pink, which I really like. It's a little rosy as well. So this is more on the sheer side. I would say this gives a light medium to medium opacity, which is exactly what I prefer. This is very smooth, so it feels very comfortable. You can rub your lips together, and it is not sticky. It is not the most long lasting, but you really can't have a long lasting lip product without it being sticky. So I'm totally fine that I need to reapply this relatively often. It's a pretty color. It's a really comfortable formula. I do get why people really enjoy these glosses. I'm not going to go out and buy any other shades, at least not for right now. Maybe once I use this up, I will change my mind and want to buy more. And I would love to see them expand the shade range because I know others really love them. But anyway, I do like this color. I am impressed with this formula, and I do see myself reaching for this a good bit, and I'm very, very happy with the product and that I really enjoy it. So guys, that was me ranking all the products that I tested out in February. I've got some good stuff here, a lot of things that I'm going to be decluttering, and the things that I'm decluttering are the things that were gifted to me, which does happen from time to time, but I am happy that the things that I spent my money on, I do really love and plan on keeping in my collection. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would love to know your thoughts on these products in the comments down below. I'm already looking forward to my March video because I do have a decent amount of products that are new to me that I will be testing. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.